send them away. This opinion examines the modern practice of deporting prisoners from wealthy countries to poorer ones, treating human beings as disposable waste. Where on earth is Eswatini? This opening sentence serves as the thesis statement by highlighting the obscurity of the country chosen for deportations. It is one of the smallest countries in Africa, a landlocked kingdom ringed by South Africa and Mozambique. Landlocked is a geographic term meaning surrounded entirely by land without a coastline. It is now the new home for 5 criminals from Vietnam, Laos, Cuba, Jamaica, and Yemen, deported recently from prisons in the U.S. Deported is a legal term meaning forcibly sent back or moved out of a country. New home is used ironically to indicate involuntary resettlement. Why Eswatini? Why is a rhetorical question stressing the absurdity of the choice. Perhaps the reason lies in its national motto. We are a fortress, we are a mystery, we hide ourselves away. Fortress is a metaphor implying impenetrability. Hide ourselves away is an idiomatic expression meaning to isolate or seclude. Deportation to a third country is not a new practice. Third country is a legal jargon term for a nation other than the deporting country or the individual's country of origin. In the 19th century, the British sent their criminals to Australia. Sent.to is a phrasal verb meaning dispatched or exiled. Between 1788 and 1868, 162,000 convicts were transported there. Convicts is a legal term for people found guilty of crimes. Transported here is a historical euphemism for forced relocation. Recently, one visitor entering Australia was asked whether he had any convictions. Entering is a straightforward term meaning arriving in a country. He replied wittily, "Why? Is conviction still a prerequisite to enter Australia?" Prerequisite is a noun meaning a necessary condition. Wittily indicates humor used to expose hypocrisy. Normally, convicts and undesirables used to be deported to their home country. Undesirables is a euphemism for persons deemed unwanted. Today, they can be sent anywhere. Sent anywhere is blunt phrasing, highlighting arbitrariness. For example, Denmark, to ease overcrowding in its jails, has signed a 10-year deal with Kosovo worth millions, leasing 300 cells in a refurbished prison. Ease overcrowding is a phrase meaning to reduce excessive prisoner numbers. Signed a 10-year deal is a business juridical term for a long-term contract. Leasing is a financial term meaning renting. Refurbished is a verb meaning renovated or updated. Belgium is considering a similar deal with Kosovo. Considering is a verb meaning to think about or plan. The Netherlands may send up to 500 foreign inmates to Estonia from next year. Inmates is a legal term for people imprisoned. Austria wants to follow suit. Follow suit is an idiomatic expression meaning to do the same thing as someone else. Sweden is studying the export of both Swedish and foreign prisoners. Export is here used metaphorically to mean sending out of the country. In March this year, President Donald Trump deported more than 200 Venezuelans held in the U.S. to a mega prison in El Salvador, some 2,500 kilometers away from their home. Held in is a phrasal verb meaning detained in. Mega prison is a colloquial term for a very large detention facility. In Britain, housing a prisoner is costly over £50,000 a year. And so, housing a prisoner uses housing metaphorically to mean accommodating. Costly is an adjective meaning expensive. Its prison population is 87,000, i.e. 97% of jail capacity. Prison population is a bureaucratic term for the number of inmates. Capacity is a noun meaning maximum holding volume. The true threat is not from this captive audience, but from asylum seekers. Captive audience is a metaphor meaning prisoners who cannot leave. Asylum seekers is a legal term for people claiming refugee status. The last Conservative government misspent a fortune £700 million in a scheme to deport asylum seekers to Rwanda. Misspent is a verb meaning wasted or used ineffectively. Scheme is a noun meaning a planned program. These included payments to Rwanda's government of £290 million, the wasted cost of chartered flights that never took off, the detention of hundreds of asylum seekers in British hotels, and the salaries of 1,000 civil servants who formulated this harebrained scheme. Chartered flights are planes hired for exclusive use. Harebrained is an idiomatic adjective meaning foolish or ill-conceived. The present Labour government has admitted that no asylum seekers were ever deported to Rwanda. Admitted is a verb meaning confessed or acknowledged. The 4 illegal immigrants who did opt for Rwanda agreed after receiving a sweetener each of £3,000. Illegal immigrants is a charged term for people residing without legal status. Opt for is a phrasal verb meaning choose. Sweetener is a metaphor for an incentive payment. Today's Britain is suffering from a replay of Dunkirk in reverse. Replay of Dunkirk is a simile referencing the World War II evacuation, here inverted metaphorically to imply mass influx rather than exodus. Asylum seekers are crossing the channel in anything that floats. Anything that floats is an idiomatic expression meaning any makeshift vessel. Whoa. Despite the efforts of the British and French governments, the number of boat people has increased by 50% over last year. Boat people is a colloquial, sometimes pejorative term for refugees arriving by sea. In 2025, more than 21,000 have crossed with impunity. With impunity is an idiomatic phrase meaning without punishment or risk. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and French President Emmanuel Macron have announced a one-in, one-out deal. One person would be admitted in the UK, and in exchange another, who arrived irregularly, would be returned to France. One-in, one-out deal is a succinct label for a reciprocal agreement. Irregularly is an adverb meaning in violation of formal rules. A second part of the deal is the interception of overcrowded dinghies up to 300 meters out to sea. Interception is a military naval term meaning stopping or boarding at sea. Dinghies is a noun meaning small inflatable boats. In one recent incident, the French gendarmerie punctured a dinghy. Gendarmerie is a French term for a paramilitary police force. Punctured is a verb meaning made a hole in. Undeterred, its crew picked up yet more passengers along the French coast and landed them in Britain. Undeterred is an adjective meaning not discouraged. Crew is a noun referring to those operating the vessel. That same day, another 10 boats unloaded 573 asylum seekers. Unloaded is a verb meaning disembarked or let off. One must marvel at the ingenuity of these boat people. Marvel at is a phrasal verb meaning to admire with wonder. Ingenuity is a noun meaning cleverness or resourcefulness. They have the resources to dodge all hurdles. Dodge is a verb meaning evade. Hurdles is a metaphor for obstacles or barriers. They managed to foil passport controls at every European border. Foil is a verb meaning to thwart or prevent. And they still have enough left over to buy a seat on a leaking dinghy. Leftover is a phrasal term meaning remaining after other uses. Ironically, it is often the least developed countries that bear the burden of migrants. Ironically is an adverb indicating an unexpected twist. Least developed countries is a UN classification of very low-income nations. Pakistan at one time hosted over 4 million Afghans. Hosted is a verb meaning provided refuge to. Many have been repatriated since, although more than 1 million remain. Repatriated is a legal term meaning sent back to their country of origin. Iran has been more ruthless. Ruthless is an adjective meaning harsh or merciless. Within the fortnight of June the 24th to July 9, 2025, more than 500,000 Afghans were evicted and left Iran for home. Evicted is a legal term meaning expelled from residency. Meanwhile, Afghans who collaborated with British troops during the Afghan War find themselves the victims of friendly fire, after the data of nearly 19,000 helpful Afghans were revealed in an accidental breach. Collaborated is a verb meaning cooperated with. Friendly fire is a military term meaning unintended attack by one's own side. Accidental breach is a security jargon term for unintended data leak. Under a covert resettlement scheme, 4,500 Afghans and their family members have been moved to the UK. Covert is an adjective meaning secret or hidden. Resettlement scheme is a bureaucratic term for organized relocation. Another 2,400 are expected. Expected is a simple term meaning anticipated. The total cost will exceed £850 million. Total cost is a financial term. The British regard this as the price for their help. Price for their help is a metaphor indicating compensation. In Doha, the Taliban view it as the equivalent of 30 silver pieces for betrayal. Equivalent is a noun meaning equal value. 30 silver pieces is a biblical allusion to the price paid for Judas's betrayal of Jesus. Pakistan's prison population today is over 100,000, overcrowded into jails, which have a notional capacity of 65,000. Notional is an adjective meaning theoretical or nominal. Every inmate here and everywhere, whether in Kot Lakpat, Adiala, El Salvador, Kosovo, or Eswatini, lives out these words of Oscar Wilde's. All that we know who lie in goal is that the wall is strong, and that each day is like a year whose days are long. Inmate is a legal term for a prisoner. Lie in goal uses a sporting metaphor for being confined. Lives out is a phrasal verb meaning to experience fully. The writer is an author. www.aijazuddin.pk. Published in Dawn, July 24, 2025.